Hi everybody. So today in our lesson we are going to talk about body proportions. This is another drawing lesson. It's super similar to facial proportions in that we break the body down and we talk about like the average size of everything so that you can draw a body in proportion. And when we use the term in proportion, that just means that everything is the right size and in the right place. So if you're doing this at home, you can look at a guide online. You can also print out a guide online. Parents, what I recommend is that if the kids are doing this, that they don't trace. Like, that's a really important, like, tracing has its place in drawing. But for what we're trying to do, if your child or your student is trying to increase their drawing skills, then it's really important that you do it. Like, you just do it, even though it's difficult to start from scratch, but you do it. So I'm going to show you some just basic body proportions. I'm not going to get into great detail, but I'm going to break the body down so you can draw all the parts of the body, or draw a whole human body in proportion. So I'm just using like a regular sheet of copy paper. Like, you can use any kind of paper. But the first thing we learn about drawing bodies in proportion is that a grown human body, like an adult person, is usually 8 heads high. So whatever the size of your head is, like this, my head, I am probably 8 of those high. And that includes my head. So my head plus 7 more heads equals how tall I am. And so before we even start drawing a human body, we're just going to break our paper down into 8 sections. Now, you want to keep a light pencil. As always, keep your eraser super duper close. But divide your paper up into 8 equal sections. If you have a ruler, you can use a ruler. You can use whatever you need to use to divide it up. Definitely keep a light pencil because you can erase later. If you're like drawing a lot of these, you may want to erase all of these guidelines and just like work on developing whatever your drawing is, okay? So these are just guidelines. Make them super light so they're easy to erase. So I'm going to divide my paper into 8 equal sections. And I'm eyeballing this here. Again, you can use a ruler and you can divide them up into like perfectly equal sections, but we don't do anything exact around here. If you want to do it exact, that's fine with me, but that's typically not my jam. Okay, so I'm going to draw in pencil, and then I'm going to go over in marker. So give me a moment to get my lines. Okay, once you get it, like I'm doing this right now, I've got a couple of things that are uneven. It's no big deal. That is why we use a light pencil, because we're probably going to have to erase. Okay, that's about it. So these are my 8 sections. I'm going to delineate them. I'm going to show them off with marker, but I'm not going to draw the whole line. Okay, so you can see 8 sections. I've drawn these lines all the way across my page. So in the first section, you're going to draw your upside down egg for your head. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And it needs to take up the whole section, okay? Okay. That's about the size I want for this body that I'm drawing. Do you see that I've done right there? Okay. Now, I'm going to draw a line. Actually, I'm going to number these sections so you know what I'm referencing. So 1, 2, 3 from top to bottom. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Top to bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I've got my head. I'm going to draw from the middle of the chin, I'm going to draw a line straight down to the top of section 5, okay? And then just below, just like a smidge, like maybe a 1/4 of an inch below my chin, I'm going to draw my shoulder line. And your shoulders are typically like 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches wide. Okay, like that. So again, just like with the face, we're breaking it all down and putting guidelines in place so it makes the actual drawing of the thing a lot easier. You're not just like doing everything from scratch, which is, I mean, you can draw like that, but it's a lot harder. Okay, so then, let's see. I'm going to draw the top of my hips, which is going to intersect with the bottom of my torso. My torso ended at the section, the top of section 5, and then my hips start also right at the top of section 5. And your hips are typically a little narrower than your shoulders. So I'm going to draw 2 little circles for my hip sockets right there. See what I've done here? So here are my shoulders, okay? There are my hips, okay? Now I'm going to draw my legs. Your thighs are about 2 sections wide, 2 heads long. And then your calves are the same, and they end with your feet. I'm going to go back and add my arms. Right here, I'm going to draw a little circle. Okay, so you can see what I've done here, right? Just drawn legs. These are my thighs. These are going to be my calves and my feet. And then I've drawn these little circles. These are going to be my shoulder joints. And I'm going to draw the arms. Your upper arm goes from your shoulder. We're going to do a 1.5 sections about. Then your elbow is going to be right at section 3. And I know this isn't going to seem right, but your arms are actually really long. So if you stand up and like stand up straight and measure your arms, they're going to hit, your hands are going to hit mid-thigh. So this is how you know that I'm not lying. So you can try this at home and discover this for yourself. Like all of these body proportions you can test out. Again, this ties in a whole lot of math. So if you're looking for real world application, parents, this is a great way to like talk about fractions and ratios and all that kind of stuff. And then my forearms are going to take up all of section 4 and half of section 5, and then I'm going to put my hands right there, okay? And what I do to one side, I do to the other side. Okay. See what I've done here? Okay, cool. Now, what I'm going to start doing is filling in the body, right? So I'm going to make the neck. I'm going to start at the neck. I'm just going to widen that out a little bit. A lot of this is so much easier because now you know where everything is. You've got it all mapped out. You know where everything goes. Now you can start adding detail. Okay. Now, I'm going to slope my shoulders down just a little bit. I'm going to come at an angle. And all of those original guidelines that I made, I can come back and I can erase them. Okay, so then I've added my neck, I've added my shoulders. I'm going to add my torso. So like just above where section 2 ends, like at the top of section 3, that's really kind of where your armpit starts, right? And you can draw your torso the way down here. So our belly button is going to be like in the middle of section 4. Depending on the size of the torso, it can be a little bit higher. I'm going to make my guy with his torso just a little bit higher. Okay, so this is what we have so far. See, like that? Okay, now I'm going to start filling in this. I'm drawing a guy. This doesn't have to be a guy. I'm going to call him a dude. I'm going to go fill in my dude's arms right here. See that? I'm going to do it to the other side. So you're just sort of like filling in the meat of the arms. And this should not be super neat and tidy, right? When you're learning to draw, you put in a whole lot of marks. See? This doesn't have to be neat or tidy. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to add in some chest right here. I'm just going to beef him up a little bit. Now, right where your belly button, like just below where your belly button is where like the top of your pelvis is. So that's going to be just above that hip line that we drew. So I'm going to draw that right there. So hold on a second. I'll show you guys what I'm doing here. Okay, so see what I've done here. Just added a little shadowing, right? He's by no means perfect, and now I'm going to start, right here is the top of the pelvis, and I'm going to start the legs. Okay, so this dot right here where I'm drawing, that is your knee. So the thighs are going to like round out, right? And come to your knee. They get skinnier. And then your calves are going to be skinnier than your thighs. Most of the time. Okay, now I'm just adding to the feet. And the calf muscles. Okay, you see what I've done here? feet and calf right there. He's looking kind of skinny. I'm going to beef him out. Make that torso a little bit wider. Erase some of that. Then erase some of that. Okay, now I also kind of want to bring his hands up just a smidge. So keep in mind that I'm keeping a light pencil all the time, because as I'm drawing, I'm looking at things and I'm thinking, I think I'm gonna just adjust that a little bit. That's okay to do. You should be keeping a light pencil. Okay, now let me add this other calf muscle and this other foot. Okay, so this is my dude. He is far from perfect, right? But I can go back and I can erase all these guidelines. I'm also going to go over this real quick for you guys on marker. I think it's pretty dark, but just in case. And then, because I already know how to draw a face, I can go back and I can draw a face. So I do the same thing that I did in the last lesson. I start with this bullseye on my egg, and I can go back and I can draw this face. So these are just the basic body proportions, right? Like, you can play with this, you can do more with it, you can download or print out or use on your phone or your device or whatever, look at a picture of a human and draw from that. So you're not just like drawing without any reference material in front of you. Parents, I would definitely do the Googling of the body proportions pictures first, because anytime we're drawing the human body and we're talking about the human figure, most of the time that's done naked. So I would like screen those for your kids and then pick out the one that is appropriate for them to use. But again, we start with just basic body proportions, and you can, like, once you have sort of the structure down, then you can add to this as much as you want to. So again, you start with the human head. You make 8 sections on your paper, and just break it down like I've done here. Don't expect it to be perfect, but this is just a quick drawing lesson that you can do that's easy and helps your drawing be more realistic. So parents, as kids get older, typically around the time they're in 3rd or 4th grade, this is when we really start to see that they really want for their drawings to be realistic. And this is when we need to really come in and help them with those drawing skills, because a lot of kids give up on art because they can't draw. And as an art teacher, I know that there are tons and tons of different ways to be creative and be an artist. But for whatever reason, kids at this age, like mid-elementary career, this is when we really start to see them want to like draw more realistically, and not everybody has that natural gifted talent to be able to draw realistically. So if we want for them to like identify as being an artist and identify as creative, then drawing is a really important skill that they need to have in their toolbox. So I encourage you with your kids, this is of course appropriate for ages 5 and up. I encourage you to go through this with them, or even do it with them. Like, this is great for any age. Okay, so this is just kind of gone over with marker. I know it's kind of hard to see. Also, my man he's a little bit wonky. That's fine. If your kids are doing this activity is going to take them longer than it's taken me probably, and that's fine. But drawing, like anything else, is a practice, and you have to do it a lot to be good at it. So again, I hope you guys enjoy this one. If you have any questions or you're struggling with anything, please feel free to reach out to us. And do whatever you can to stay home. We're going to try to keep these lessons coming and keep them real simple so that even if you have limited resources at home, you should be able to do them. So you can find us on any social media. You can find us on the web. You can find us anywhere. We're easy to access. And I'll see you guys next time.